Hey guys, welcome back to another Fleetyards mission briefing. As always, I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Cockings. Hi guys, welcome back.
And today we're going to be looking at some ship from some sci-fi franchise, as we tend to do here on Fleetyards. There's so many of them out there. There's a myriad of different realities and sci-fi universes that we can explore and take a look at the ships from. And there's always some fantastic stuff. Great renders done by Samuel, as always. And I don't know what today's is because Samuel wanted to spring this on me and surprise me. So we're going to see what this is. Samuel, what do you have lined up for us today?
Well, when we started Fleetyard, I showed you a few of my sort of classical ships, and you said repeatedly they're kind of like big bricks of very generic looking things. And I then tried to show you some really different ones. And this is one of those very different ones. So going back into the world of Mass Effect, the video game phenomenon, fair to say, with the Sovereign Reaper. And by that I mean it's the Reaper species, sort of. And this is the Sovereign variant of the Reaper sort of species. We'll get into that in a little bit. And I've played all three Mass Effect, and this is the extracted 3D model from Mass Effect 2. So it's canon details. First reactions, Joe, what do you think?
It's very cool. Looks like it's standing upright, and it shouldn't be. I don't know. I think it should be like the other way, but whatever. It's probably got a reason for that. It also reminds me of the little bugs from Star Trek Conspiracy, the episode, where the guy's head blew up, and then so maybe that these guys were the ones that sent those little bugs to Earth to infiltrate Starfleet.
It's not unreasonable.
That's my first thought. Looks like a bug.
Yeah, it's well, okay. Does it look organic, or does it just look like a mechanical shaped, but organically shaped mechanical ship? Does it even look like a ship to you? I mean,
Doesn't look like a ship.
okay.
It does look like it could be mechanical though. But who knows? If it's organic, I assume there's some kind of structure. Like it's in space, so it's evolved to like have like I don't know. Well, I have no idea.
I do want to ask you roughly what you think about scale as before we get to the next scale. What's your gut reaction for this? And again, use the name Reaper, and it's a sovereign. I don't know, so it sounds quite dramatic.
This big, like a bug.
Oh right, and that's a spaceship.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. It could be like.
I suppose height is the equivalent, from tip to tip.
Do you want me to turn it sideways for like a horizontal length
yeah,
comparison?
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. I have no frame of reference. There's no windows or anything.
Just throw something out there, Stuart. It's always fun to yeah.
Half the size of a Star Destroyer. Why not?
Okay, nice. Well, the next picture is a shot from Mass Effect. It doesn't really give you a sense of scale, but it shows you that actually the claws sort of come together when it's flying, and it sort of flies in this way round. So like a squid sort of thing, it goes like that, and then the claws will open up, and that's where its main cannon is, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Doesn't really tell you the scale from this. I mean, that's very unconsequential. So, yes?
Well, I'm just going to say, the other ship has windows, so. Maybe keeping with the Star Destroyer thing, maybe almost as big as a Star Destroyer, maybe like 2/3 length.
You are pretty close this time.
What?
So if we go to the next picture, and this was a fun one to make, just for talking. This is the original Sovereign, as you can see, the original Enterprise D, Enterprise Constitution class, the original Shadow Battle Crab from Babylon 5, the real X-304 from Stargate Lake, the real Battlestar Galactica, both Battlestar Galactica ships, and then the only fan models there are the Star Destroyer and the Andromeda, but all scaled correctly.
But Samuel, why, if this is the Sovereign Reaper, do we not have a Sovereign class Enterprise there instead of the Galaxy class?
Well, they're about the same size, lengthwise, I guess.
I know, but it would have been more ironic and fitting to have the Sovereign there.
Maybe we can only have one Sovereign per epicness. I mean, come on, look at how many ships I put there. I had to render the BSG. We haven't used a base star before, or the Galactica itself. So come on, Stuart, or the Battle Crab. So
I'm disappointed.
are you? What do you think, though? This is a pretty... I mean, come on, you got Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, Battlestar Galactica... real wide spectrum, and these are big capital ships as well. These like all the premier ships of these fleets. So what do you think about sizing? Is it bigger than it's definitely bigger than you thought? You thought it'd be 1/3 of the size of a Star Destroyer, but what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, is this an organic thing? Is it actually an organism, or does it have crew on board, or is it a ship, or what is it?
Okay, so the backstory, spoilers, I guess, of the Mass Effect franchise, although it's been out for a while now. So there was an ancient race long time ago, and they realised that there was always going to be a confrontation between organics and synthetics, as I guess BSG is also another sign of. And they developed an AI to try and help deal with this problem. Unfortunately, their dealing with the problem was, let's kill everybody and start again before this problem starts. So they they would destroy, because they're advanced, they destroyed every lower species and their own creators with powerful weapons and such, and then to save the races they would reap their samples and biological parts of each of these species into themselves as the next generation of ships. And this ship in particular looks like that old Leviathan race. They were squid life forms on a water planet, and this is why they have because they took the form of that race in this generation of Reapers. So that's why. But they are intelligent, self-aware AI that are millions of years old, I think. But they're also like an amalgam of other AI and other species, but it's like one primary AI. So each of these ships has a conscience. So this one's called Sovereign. This was one of the big ones. This was actually one of the biggest ones. So it's kind of yes and it's no. It's like the epitome of AI.
Is there a crew on board, or is it just this one entity?
It is an entity, but it can be crewed. I mean, one ship can't just destroy the universe. They use a wonderfully advanced system called indoctrination, where it exudes an energy or radiation which gets into people's minds and converts them to do the will that the Reapers want. They use this as for the hero of the first game. He thinks he's doing it for his own reasons, but actually he's doing it for the Reapers' reasons. And so it's got internal space with completely livable conditions that a crew can exist in to help further the goals.
Cool.
So I like it. Yeah, it's a kind of a strange one, but I mean they're immensely powerful. I mean this one ship, and we'll see some pictures of this one ship, I would say is easily on par with a Star Destroyer or something. I mean just in terms of raw power, they've got incredibly powerful shields. The main beam is ludicrously strong. It can rip through any capital ship in a single hit. You have to use other strategies to try and defeat them, and even a massive firepower. They used an entire fleet against one of these Reaper ships, and it wasn't the fleet that destroyed it. It was something else. So these are because I mean
the fleet doesn't have a mass effect on it at all.
Let's go with that. So yeah, I mean these things are as old as the most advanced race, and the point is they destroy the galaxy when it
old as time.
Destroying life and people all and all around, death and destruction, beauty and the sovereign. No, wow, tangent. No, they specifically come back that they live in the void between galaxies, and they specifically come in when the galaxy's reached a point where it has to be culled, so no race can get advanced enough to deal with them. And for the most part, whenever they would do this cycle of destruction, the races never stood together properly, and they never were successful when they occasionally did. But it's about the galaxy coming together to defeat them. That's the only way they could do it. But it's interesting because they're not really doing it for malice. They're doing it to save, because if they there's a race called the Geth in the game, and they are a race that another race created, very much like the Cylons, and they turned against because they were slave. They were a slave race, but then they ended up trying to destroy the other race, and made them a nomad species. Destroyed their home planet and took it over. So already the rise of machines was starting in our galaxy at this time. So they were just trying to stop that, because if they can destroy every civilization and bring them back to a caveman and then re-evolve. They wouldn't have machines for thousands of years. They let new civilizations, they would let those really non-evolved species exist that haven't discovered space travel, and then they would then re-evolve. They would then evolve into spacefaring, and then the cycle would continue again and again and again to stop the mass genocide, because they're always harvesting and keeping the races intact. So they are in essence survived. It's a wonderfully odd concept. What do you think of that? And then back to the ship itself.
It's an amazing concept. I love that. I didn't even know Mass Effect was that cool.
Well, it's one of the best sci-fi universes. I mean, the aliens are phenomenal and the characters are great, but so it certainly puts into perspective. It's a ship that's that old. I mean, I think my gut says it could blow up any ship in this fleet. Maybe not the battle crab. We'll talk about that later. But I mean, that beam, it could blow up everything, even Trek technology. That'd be my gut.
Huh. Cool. Well, let's actually move to the next picture because I want to see what it looks like from the side. Oh, there! I'm not disappointed. I see a Sovereign class down at the bottom there. Good job. Good job.
You're welcome. And Babylon 5, Armageddon. Or, Omega class destroyer. Again, real models. Everything is real except the Star Destroyer, which is pretty great. It's again, I
love that. I love that. It's so aggressive looking. I love that side view.
It changes it a bit, especially when you consider it against, a pretty deep ship like the Star Destroyer, and it's like, oh Jesus, it's got a lot of internal volume. A lot of, one of their claws is the width, length, height of an Enterprise E.
Yeah.
I mean, this ship would look big against anybody. I didn't just show the Deredex for this because I want to try the universe rather than Star Trek, because that's what Fleetyards is. But I mean, this in any of these universes would pose a serious threat. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Does anything surprise you about this, or anything? I mean, look at it compared to Akani. I mean, the technology is so much. Eesh.
I wouldn't say anything that surprises me. I think this is really, really interesting, and wow, I love the way that thing looks from the side. The top looks cool and kind of menacing, but the side looks very scary. I really like that.
Yeah, because it kind of flies that way, sort of. It's very, very aggressive, very powerful. But I love it's organic, but metally organic.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful, odd thing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, compare it. I mean, Battlestar Galactica, it's much bigger. Cylon Base Star, again, it is comparable. I love that. The show is wonderful because you get to see these ships in comparison. We don't get to see a battle crab and Armageddon together, or a Star Destroyer. So it's wonderful just to feel these other different universes. I'm going to try and include more other universes when we do these episodes in the future. So
cool.
Yeah. But the next picture, Stuart, is we're starting to understand that the ship basically has one primary weapon. When the claws open, a red beam emanates, and it's pretty devastating.
And what is the red beam comprised of? Is it like plasma, or is it just bug puke?
I think it's just like a big just phased energy cannon. It's more advanced than using physical shells or anything. Other weapons in the universe are just shells or charged plasma or bullet or bits of metal fired using Mass Effect technology to this is actually like just beam plasma. And if you go to the next picture, we can see an in-game shot of it. Just and there's
so it like stands up on its.
It can do. It can do. I mean, there's some great shots in some cutscenes where a plethora of these things just sort of land. They become, and then they just move the things up a little bit and then just fire and just But there's lots of different variations of Reapers. That we're just looking at Sovereign Stakes. It's one of the most famous ones, but there are different ones. There are ones that have dedicated weapons and in more easily accessible pieces. But this is a certain version of this Reaper. But if you go to the next picture, you can see the aft. And again, wonderfully detailed model. This is actually one of the best ones from the Mass Effect 2 extractions we have. What do you think about that?
That's amazing. Although the underside looks, I don't know, less protected than the top side.
Mm-hmm.
Much like an insect, I guess, because it's the same kind of vibe. See, I get more of an insect vibe than a squid vibe from this. Personally, but that's neat.
Yeah, it kind of. Yeah, I certainly think every ship has to have a weakness, and every you can't be armored necessarily except a Borg cube can be armored from every side, and so these ships have never really faced a threat, so they come in beam, Plus, they've got shields. I mean, have this underbelly, and there are detailed pictures as we always have of these different areas. And there is, no, there isn't one of those components. So, what do you think those tubey things are at the back? Because they look very distinct, as if they mean something, as if they are something. What do you think?
Yeah, they look like, if it was a standard ship, I would say escape pods of some kind, or like auxiliary craft fighters. Although they're kind of just cylinders, so I can't see them being anything special, unless they're launch bays or something for like little babies.
Oh, that'd be creepy, wouldn't it? Ooh. To me, they look like you should put more arms there, and make it kind of like a monopod, But that sort of seems a bit redundant, especially since three arms don't even do much when it's flying anyway. They're
make
probably
it
just
creepier. The more arms something has, or the more legs it has, the creepier it is.
I'm guessing there's vents, or maybe maybe they're the Basards in a sense. They take in stellar matter just passively to keep it charged.
Let's go to the next picture. It's another underbelly shot on the other side.
I hopefully will get, when we do the full episode, I'll be able to get this model so everything can articulate, because it'd be wonderful to see, I think. But this one doesn't, as is. But not much to say. But on the next picture, you get a close up of the first arms. I mean, again, this is a game model. Love the detail. Clearly can all move. I mean, they use their arms to crush and to destroy. So it's physical weapon as well, as we saw as big as Enterprise Z. I mean, this would easily be able to come in to a Silent Base star and just go rip it apart. So pretty devastating there with what it can do.
Wow. Yeah, and it's articulated. There's a lot of like armor plating that looks like it moves as well. But I mean, as we learned from Beast Wars Transformers, if you're going to attack something, go for the joints. Looks like there's some weak spots there at the bottom that if this was standing, I don't know if does it physically stand?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, taking one of those out would definitely cause it some issues.
I'm pretty sure we do in the game as well. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It looks like a video game weak spot to shoot at, for sure.
Once you get the shields down, though, because very powerful kinetic shields. I do love the intricacy, though. I think when you zoom in a bit, it's an interesting... things I know it's sort of meant to be sort of organic, sort of. But I do like that line, that it doesn't look like a machine, but it looks like a mechanical... I say squid because I know what it's meant to be, but how the plating has different shades, and how it comes together, it's sort of smooth, but then they're not, and then you look at the leg joints, like clearly machine, but then you go up a little bit to the top plates, it's like, well, that could just be what's that dinosaur that has the big plates at the top and the ball sort of tail?
There's the Stegosaurus that has the plates on the top.
Yeah, so it could just be plates from an animal. I love the way they've had that balance between organic and not. I just think it's a great design. Even there's not too much to talk about. It's still a wonderful design as a piece of sci-fi.
Yeah. And the next picture, actually, I really like this. See, this it looks scary.
Yes.
I can see this being something from underwater. That's something I would not want to see coming at me in space, underwater, anywhere. This is pretty imposing.
This is kind of the classic in flight and about to attack position. The arms are open. It's rearing its laser. It really doesn't say to scale. I mean, it has a certain, without windows, without it sort of transcends scale. It's just a beast, and knowing how big it is, I mean, that's a lot of power it's going to be able to throw at you.
Very cool.
The next picture is a close-up of the aft section. Again, wonderful details. Not much else to see, but lovely plating and just things. But the next picture is a close-up on the top. And again, this actually I think holds up really well detail-wise. There's all those different joints, and it's just...
Yeah.
Sometimes all put together.
Now, does this thing have like a specific head section, or is it just kind of whatever? Because I can't see anything that would specifically say like a head or.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I said, there's multiple different variations on these designs. I I think some have sort of I guess you could you know from more emphasized whatever the word is, humanize onto a little component. We do talk to Sovereign at one point as a hologram on a planet, but it's sort of normal form. So I think it's not head per se, but I mean you can sort of assume it's in the middle, a bit to the middle. I mean but yeah, not specifically. Although that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I'm sure many fans have been shouting out a long way through this, especially in the scale charts. If you go to the next picture, Stuart, remind us what the other ship is for a sec, if you know, which I think you do know now.
Not officially, but yeah, I do. It's a crab spider ship from Babylon 5. I don't know what it's called exactly because they haven't. I've seen them attacking ships, but they haven't really discovered or said what they were yet.
Right. Yeah. It sort of battle crab, shadow cruiser is what is in the scene files.
Shadow. Yeah.
And this is what it really looks like. You haven't really seen it this close up or high detail, but there you go, 1080p. Now, this is where people might be shouting out Mass Effect and Babylon 5. Well, a lot of people say Mass Effect is the new Babylon 5 because it has that politic structure, and just like the Reaper, this battle crab is a big organic ship, looks like sort of a crab, has a single laser which can annihilate people. It's mega old, and it has some of the same backstory elements. I won't go into too much into it now because Stu hasn't seen it. But actually, these are very
lives in hyperspace. Doesn't live in normal space.
Well, it can do. I mean,
I know, but yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, knowing what you know, it's pretty similar. I mean, I think fair to say inspiration. Anyone wants to know the deeper story, there's certainly more is more that makes sense. And I just wanted to point out, we do know that comparison. We have thought about it, or at least I have, and I think Stuart will be like, oh, okay. But
they both came from the same water, the same ocean, by the looks of it.
Well, that's interesting because the Shadow Crab went for more of a otherworldly feel. It's more of a spaceship feel. It's got that odd textural moving skin thing, whereas the Reaper is much more distinct, and it's I guess it's more like a spider. I guess you could say the Shadow Crab looks more like a spider, and the other one I think more distinctly looks like an animal. It has a more obvious feel to that. I'd see them in a fight. That'd be a wonderful thing. I think I don't know if the Shadows, how much defensive ability the Shadows have in terms of shield. I've been interested to, because still got. It doesn't take much to beat a Shadow ship when you have a right ship that can defeat it. Whereas the Sovereign takes a whole fleet to sort of maybe destroy it. So I'm probably the Sovereign's stronger, although the beam would probably be stronger on the. I don't know. It's interesting. But we do know that comparison, guys, and we have shown it here, and they're actually quite comparable in size as well. Sovereign's 2 kilometers, and this Reaper is this Shadow is whatever it is. It's pretty big too. But yeah, you'll understand it more, Stuart, when you get to it. And I still think Mass Effect has its own value. I mean, using there's maybe 6 stories that you can tell, and so it's just recycling the same ideas. I still think Mass Effect did a wonderful version of it, taking its own unique spin, and also having be completely CG. In the game world, they could really make the aliens even more interesting, more ridiculous. So I think.
So
it has their own value.
To play Mass Effect is what you're saying.
Yeah, or at least just watch me play Mass Effect, so you can get the story without actually having to button mash, as it were.
I love button mashing games.
Well, there you go. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe have a drinking game, Mass Effect, play through at your house and record it. That'd be fun.
Yes.
Although that's like 150 hours worth of gameplay if you do it fully. Anyway, so there you go. If you're the next picture of the last picture is the first picture. The Reaper Sovereign. What is your sort of final thoughts on this? I think it's fair to say I picked a different design, a different style ship for your Fleetyards.
Yeah, I really like it. But I do see bug. I see something maybe from Starship Troopers. One of the bugs that would be on the planet's surface killing soldiers. I don't really see it sized up as a ship, but I mean, I can see how it works as a ship. But I definitely see like a bug creature and not necessarily a squid. I just see like an alien bug. But I really like the design. It's really menacing, very interesting to look at. So visually, it's just great. It's not boring gray brick flying through space. So yeah, I absolutely love it, and I thank you for showing it to me because I had never seen it before, to be honest. So, and if I would have saw it in passing in a magazine, I wouldn't have assumed it was a ship.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, a spaceship it's not. I mean, it's an entity. It's an AI entity amalgam thing which has living space, and you can sort of operate it, but it's really operating itself, but making you think you're operating it because you know. So it's really an entity with organic space inside it.
It's very cool.
So I guess pushing the lines of what a spaceship is. But again, Moya, same thing from Farscape. It's an organic entity. That's like a big space whale. It's like a big space crab to death machine. And that is it for this week's Fleetyards mission briefing. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Closing thoughts from me. I like it. It's great in the game. Wonderful race. Wonderful story. And I'm very glad we have the model. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this another Mass Effect show. If you want to support the show, there are 2 ways, aren't there, Stuart?
There are 2 ways. You can go to Patreon, which is our monthly donation service, and give what you can afford. $1 a day, less than the price of a coffee. $1 a day, $30 a month. That would be. I mean, $1 a month, or go up to $10 a month, 15, 1,000, whatever you guys want. Feel comfortable with would help us out. And then we've got a lot of great Patreon supporters that we really love that help us out monthly. So that's one option. The next is to go to Trekyards.com and click the donate button for a one-time donation. If you just want to shoot us $10 or $15 for whatever, we'd really appreciate that as well. So there's 2 options there. And if you check out the Fleetyards Facebook page, be sure to join that because there's some great stuff on there all the time.
Yeah, and if you want to just get the show, make sure to subscribe to this channel, click that bell notification to actually get the show showing to you every week, because sometimes it doesn't like doing that. And just tune in every week and enjoy the show and share the word, because the more fans we have, the better, because we put the time in. You know, all these real models we showed you today, all the real assets, you only see them here on Fleetyards. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time, guys, I'm Connor Cookins.
And I'm Captain Foley.
I'll see you next time. Bye,
Bye
guys.
everybody.